I'd already been working on this for a little bit. Um, so the previous design that I had, let me just explain that I ended up looking up a schematic to kind of understand where things were going because I had the right idea, but I didn't put it in the right spot. I think is what was going on. So essentially, I was able to get 3 out of the 4 correct, but couldn't get that last one. And then you end up having to undo what you did or adding more crap to it. And then you're just back to where you started, where you're using 8 transistors or whatever to make it work. So I kind of scrapped everything that I was doing because again, I had the kind of the right idea. I just need to implement things kind of in the right order, or it's essentially again trying to combine some of the stuff that is basically doing the same thing. So once I started figuring that out, I was like, okay, I'm this close. I'm like right there. But again, you see it in the last video this morning. I wanted to keep working on that this morning because I knew I was close, but then I had to go to work. And once I was done with work, came home, and my wife's at work too, so I made dinner for the kids and everything. And I like watching. Rad Brad is a YouTuber that I've kind of watched for years, and he's playing that. Oh, what's that game called? It's on my Steam somewhere. The Deliverance game. Where the heck is it? It's usually right in your face. The new game that basically everybody's playing. I'm not really too into that stuff too much. I love how I completely forgot what it's called, and I've seen it literally every day. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So I'll typically kind of when I'm chilling, eating, and doing whatever. My daughters had to take a shower earlier, so I got the shower ready for them and doing all the usual dad shit. And but again, I was kind of half thinking about some of this stuff, and I was like, man, I know I'm just one thing away to where I can get this. And so as I was drawing things out, I saw a couple of schematics online. I don't really understand how to read some of the different ones because there's like some of them use certain symbols, and I'm like, what are they getting at? And I found one in particular that that worked for me because I can tell where because it actually marks whether it's would be like a a positive or a negative, and it's also a gate, so I can kind of tell that too. I was like, okay, so that looks like this is that, that's that, and I'm now I'm starting to read it where it's making sense to me. I'm like, oh, well, this thing is an inverter, and then oh, there's this. Okay, so they're doing that in series, so that you need both gates to get through to that, and then this one's in parallel, so you're sending your input from 2 sides just to get one combined output, kind of thing. And so once I saw that, I'm like, that's exactly the same shit I was just trying to do on the other one. I had my parallel circuit, which was it was like a reverse inverter to me because I was thinking, oh, you're sending 2 different signals into it to get the same output regardless of what the inputs are. And I was like, well, yeah, I'm trying to do that too. So I'm like, okay, but you know, once I realized that all I need to do is put my inverter on my input, then there you go. I'm changing the output of the inverter. I'm alternating the current and I'm changing that output, but it's giving me a different it's giving me the same output on another part of the circuit. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's kind of the same. It's again, there's more than one way to do this stuff. So I was like, all right, so let's look at this and see where I want to go with it. And then I just went ahead and just did a rough drawing of it on here, and everything made sense when I saw it. I'm like, yeah, this guy right here is specifically to change one gate for the B for the blue, and that was this one. That's where you're doing. You don't want to send the negative flow into the circuit and put in A and B as your red. See, that's an obvious one that you do early on. That all you do is you just do a circuit in series. It's the negative, it's the NMOS. So I'll just do it real quick to explain it. So it's this one here. This is one you learn early on. You're feeding, and I'm screwing up that part of the circuit, but ignore this guy for now. Don't worry about that. So you're sending your negative, your zero, your negative flow into this right here, and then you just do the gates with your A and your B. I'm going to completely destroy this design. I'm not done with it by any means, but this is functional, and I'm just trying to condense it and figure out where I want to lay things out. But this is a circuit. Again, you have your drawbridges and your gates, and you have your A and your B, and when they're both red, then that's allowing that flow to go through. So this is some shit you learn pretty early on. So I'll just show that this works real quick, and that I'm in the process of condensing it. So right now I'm at 150. It's an advanced chip. I'm at 175 with the ticks and like 1287 with the volume. But my thing that I was shooting for was trying to wrap my brain around and figure out how the heck to do this with only 6 transistors. Because I kept ending up with 8. Every time I figured it out, I'm like, all right, I'm close. Damn it, I need 2 more for this part to finish this off. And and I'm working off of another design that I'd found, and I'm like, I don't think that castle gate design is going to work in this case. So this is the bread and butter of this design for me for here is this inverter. So that way, when you were faced with the dreaded 2 reds, what you're doing is you're taking your red from A. It doesn't matter which one you do it on, just pick one. You're going to get essentially the same result. But the way I did it was I did A is my inverter. And when you're sending the flow from A and it's red, it's going to invert it and create it and make it blue. So here's my combined output. So it inverts A. I almost wish there was a way to draw up a schematic. There probably is, and I just don't know how to do it. But you have your, I know what I can do. Where's the, okay. So I'm sending in A. It's just a single input inverter. I send in A, and I feed it into the positive and the negative transistors. And so that way, it's your light switch. It's your on and off. So when A is on, when it's red, it's going to shut off the flow from the red and only allow the blue to flow through. So you see how it's right there? So the blue flows through, and so now your output is blue. And it'll do vice versa. When you switch it to blue, it'll close off the zero, the negative in your blue, and it'll allow the red to flow through. So nowhere else in this circuit do I do anything with these guys. That's it. That's all they are, is they're a part of the inverter, and that's it. Everything else is strictly from what the A and the B are doing. Because what this inverter fixes, what this inverter solves for me, was the one thing that I was having trouble wrapping my brain around, was how do I get the negative flow to go into the circuit, which I thought I can just simply do that series, the two NMOSs together, have the two red gates, and then that'll allow the flow to go through. The problem is that every time it just ends up causing, I end up with short in this design. So I had to figure out, well, how do I get it to where it doesn't flow through, shut it off, and be able to, because I had all the other stuff solved. I had all the other stuff was golden. So the key was this inverter. So I got this going. I want this as close to the top as possible, because that'll mean that these guys, my positive and negative flowing into the into this design, is as short as possible. So these are going to be, I'm going to shift this thing up a little bit. So I wanted to record kind of my thought process of how I'm figuring out how to shuffle things a little bit better, because I have a total of, I think, 4 outputs. There's a combined output here. I mean, I really only have 2. But they come from, no, they come from 3 different chips. So when this one's flowing, it's coming through this NMOS chip here. So I want that guy as close to that guy as possible. If for some reason I can't get that guy close, then I want this guy as close to this guy as possible. So again, this is how you're shortening this trace. You're trying to get this down as short as possible. I think my longest trace was the first one. Yeah, it's at 49. So I mean, not terrible, but definitely could use some work. So this is where I can show my creative side, that I don't really think I have much of a creative side, but I guess we're going to find out how creative I get with this. So because this guy is tied to the inverter, that really limits where I can move this guy. And I can shift it over here. You know, that should be fine. The only thing I got to worry about is not having it touch this. So shifting it closer to the output still means I'd be shifting the gate. So I think in this situation, I think the best thing to do is just simply shift it back. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll put it in line here. Because remember, this is a combined output. So regardless if I'm here or here, I'm going to get the same thing. So we're going to do this. And we are going to try and shift things up a little bit too. But we need that output before I completely screw this up. Let me double check what I had before again. The combined inverter output is the gate, B is the input, and the output goes to there. But I also have the combined inverter output to this gate also is an input to another NMOS chip. So when this is blue, it's going to flow through to that. So I need to shift all that stuff over. So
Rosie likes ginger beer.
cool. I like you.
That's closer.
No, there's something else.
I put a little lemon juice. I used cranberry juice.
Yeah, I don't know.
I used ginger beer. This is closer than anything
Okay.
I've made.
I trust your judgment.
We drank 3 of them.
Okay. That. That. All right. Let's make sure it still works. Okay. We're going to shift this chip over. And again, we can't touch that. So I think the easiest thing to do and all we need to do is we just need the inverter's combined output to go in here, and then B is the gate. That's all we simply need. And B is the gate that continues on through. We might as well just keep that for now. So I mean, this guy can, no. Remember, B was the gate. You can do this. This is going to do that. That's going to go there. That's just an output. And it's like that. Okay. So you're shifting these guys back, which is making their outputs a little longer, but the inputs are shorter. Problem is that this, I was hoping to flip down a little bit. So we just need A is feeding that PMOS, but it's also feeding this gate. So what can we do to make that more efficient? I think what we can simply do is flip it over here, take this guy and move him over here, because that B is already there and this is already there as well. So why wouldn't we just simply do this? because all it is it's feeding a gate. Can't go that close because we're going to short out there. So that's not going to work. I can go up and over with the outputs though too. So we'll probably do that. We'll probably switch these two outputs of these NMOS chips, go up and over. But then I have only two squares. They're going to short out right here. So maybe never mind on that. I'll have to do something like this. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll just, well, here. This side will be the input. And to clean this up, we can just, because it's a gate, we'll just bring this here. And we'll just do this. Okay. I don't like doing that. This is going to save a lot of blocks because at this point, well, that might be a problem. Because we need A to feed this gate here. And you're dealing with another problem where you got the two blocks. So just simply bring that over that way. There. We don't need that guy. We don't need all this crap. Bring him like here. Let's see where we're at now. Okay. We can shorten this up too as well. Okay. Just make sure you fix your stuff. What no, he was there and that was there. I don't know what all this crap is. And see, I kind of left this funny little design here to remind me to make sure I'm like, I don't want to have to keep thinking about the inverter. I'm just like, I know that's my inverter, so just bear with me. If you got to do little things like that, little tricks to try and remind you of where things are at until you're really familiar and you feel pretty good about things. So, and I mean, I also know it's the positive and the negative, so that's another thing in this, but just in case something later I have a problem reminding myself of what's I'm doing with the circuit. I'm having some chocolate that my wife brought me back from her job, so All right, let's check it again. Where the hell did it go? All right, we're getting there. So I thought it was important to also just show this process too, because I'm still learning a lot of this stuff, and this is going to be real messy for me early on. So I want to show how I struggle with it and how I figure it out. So my longest trace is, let's write these, 46, 38, 37, 47. So it's having to go through here to get to this. Well, no, you got to go through your inverter that goes to this gate, which lets B go through. But I think something I'm noticing is it doesn't just count where it's going here. It also counts how long it takes to like open the gate as well. So you have to include all these ticks on this thing. I don't think it cares about this right here, because if it does, I'm kind of screwed on that because I need that. But when you look at like one of these, you know, it's faster. It's getting the blue from the inverter, so it's converting it over to blue, which goes along this path and heads out, which it needs this gate. So if you look at it, it's a relatively short distance to open that gate right there, and then it's going through the inverter and going out. So that's why that's one of the shorter traces. So why isn't this one here, when it opens this gate, why is that one not one of the worst ones? Oh, because it's probably that to open that gate. It's for when it's blue, right? No, that's right, it inverts it. So what is that for? Are we just blocking? I think that's all we're doing is blocking. I don't think it ever goes through there. Because that's specifically just A. Oh, okay. It is being used. And that trace isn't that bad. So that doesn't seem right, because that should be one of the worst ones. But I guess I save it by this is the quickest in this particular design. This is actually one of the quickest ways to get to the end. It's literally going straight here and 2 over. So it's 10 blocks. You can see it on the thing. It's 10 blocks and 2 over, so that's 12. So that's essentially 12 ticks. So the other, no, I'm still wrong. This is one of the longer ones. This is 47. So it's 12 ticks just to get to there. I wonder if it's counting all of this stuff too, filling in there, which I would think hopefully it shouldn't, but it must be. Because you got, what is it, 2, you got 3 up, 9 down, 4 over, another 1 down. So that's what we're at 3, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 for the gate. So you got 23 there. Yeah. And you got another 10 here. So you would think that the trace itself to get to the output is only 23 plus to open the gate, and then 12 to get there. That'd be like 35, but it looks like it's filling in other shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess that's 10. 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's another 14 on top of the 37-ish that I had, whatever I came up with. But it says 47. I guess I don't really fully understand how you count all the ticks. But the thing is the more you can try and compact things, the better. So I have one more spot here, but here's another thing that I'm doing is I already merged those chips, didn't I? Yeah, these are already together. Now I could move this guy back even more, but you're gonna struggle. You're gonna have to try and hook that up, and you're still gonna need this to go to it. So you're still gonna end up spending blocks just to get to it. So it's only 3 blocks to get there. You're already going in the air, so I mean, going over is probably not the end of the world. But I could probably shift this stuff back some more. So let's give that a shot and see how it does. So again, we're going to do that. This is going to have to go up and over. We will probably how was that hooked up again? The inverter output was the gate, B is the in, and then the output's just out. And you want that gate to pass through to the input to this guy. Okay. Then I will likely shift this guy over as well. If I'm going to do that, I might as well do both. So let's go ahead and do that. That doesn't short out there. That's good. It's not shorting out that guy. That's the output there. Okay. verify that we're still good. Shouldn't see much of a difference. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and shift over this guy. Since we have room now, we'll go ahead and shift him over. I already forgot which way he was facing. He was facing that way. Okay. Something else we needed to not touch. I almost forgot. This side is my input, and this one is my output. That's why that looked funny. Okay, let me make sure I'm not completely screwing this up. So I kind of did it backwards for a reason, because it made it more efficient. Okay. We have to stay there because of this guy, right? We have to keep it like that, or else we'll touch, right? Because see, we touch right there. So unfortunately, I can't really get rid of these blocks. But I'm sure I will figure out some other way or means to do it. Because if I can, I'd like to get rid of this row here. And then I can just maybe jumper that over there or something. But I don't think I can do that. Because we'll touch. Because I have this input tied to that gate. And this is an input that's going to be tied to this gate. So those are alternating, and those are right on top. Those are within a block of each other. That makes that difficult. So I really don't see maybe I can do this. Let's go ahead and get this done. And how about no, I still don't think I can do it. Because of this guy right here on my inverter. I could bring this guy here and do it that way, but I do lose that little bit right there, which is about a good 2 blocks, but I was losing them out there anyway, so all I did was shift having to come out this way to a little bit to the right. So I did have to do that. But what that means now, so I can take this guy and do that and get rid of this whole row. What's touching? What did I? Okay, I didn't hook up this. Wait a minute. No, I think I see a problem. now I don't have the connection there. I'd have to go around. I guess that's the way I'll go, since that ain't going away. Which means all I need, that guy can't go up, not where he's at. That guy can't go here because he'll touch there. But I could do that, which gives me the ability to do this. But that's not necessary. It doesn't help me any. I was going to say I can, because I got some real estate here that I can't use. And that makes that trace longer. So this right here, right there, that little fucker right there is screwing me up. So maybe I don't have enough room. Yeah, that's kind of a problem there. Let's validate it. Let's check it again. Yeah, we just made that trace much worse. What's touching now? That's my output. I need that blue. I need that blue to come through. So I have a red touching somewhere that it doesn't need to be touching. Where's that short coming from? I don't see it. Is that because this red gate would stop that? That should be letting the blue through, and the blue should be just going. Where do I have red coming? Where did I touch the red that I'm missing? Oh, right here. Right here. See, and I wasn't going this way before. See, now it's gone. So because I had to move this trace over to here, now I'm touching that red where I was fine before going this way. These are combined outputs. So as much as I was saying that's a problem, I don't think it is. I don't remember now. It should be a problem because I only want that to go for that gate. That's all it was for, was this gate. So because that touches, now it's not going to work. See? But having to go the other way, now I'm touching that. So I'm screwing myself here. And I don't have a way of hopping around to fix it. So since there's not a whole lot of benefit to this guy being here, I think I'm going to turn it. And just have it yeah, but I need this output to be able to go out, so if I turn it, I can shorten the input to it there and then share the output. So basically what I'm saying is turn it this way. I can do it like that without affecting the output of this guy. Okay, that'll work. That's a fairly nice straight line coming straight out of that. And this. I got this jumper here. Okay. I think it'd be more beneficial to have this be a shorter trace than this one. I still made that one worse. Now what did I fuck up? Oh, that's the wrong chip. Your two negative chips, your two NMOSs are here. These were my two positive ones. So I just need to change this into a positive chip. I used the wrong chip. See, you screw up enough, you actually get better at fixing your screw ups. All right, so what are you doing? Are you playing with your ice cream cones?
Yeah.
You haven't played with those in like what, 2 years? Probably. Yeah, it's chocolate. Jesus. I remember when you first got those. I think that was a Christmas at Grammy's. Maybe it was 2023. Probably. All right. I do like our inverter chip. I like this. You got good straight gates. You're close to the input and the output. You're positive and negative. This is pretty efficient. And then it goes right into another chip. So the other thing is how much more can we squeeze and push, make it more efficient? And I'm like, well, I do like also having to use some of the stuff on the very base floor, the base of the die. But man, how else can we do this besides shifting this guy up? But what happens is if you shift him over, because you want the output of your inverter handles this gate, and then it also is an input to feed on to go ahead and go to the output. So it's doing two things. It's opening and closing a gate, and it's also flowing to the output. So this is pretty efficient here. So the last guy is kind of the problem. He's kind of out there by himself. But I don't know of another way to make him more efficient, because that's just basically for whenever it's red, it flows through, and this gate becomes blue to let the red through. So the only other thing to really do is to make these jumpers taller, and again squish them in. But how much am I really saving by moving the entire transistor in, but then you're making the jumpers tall, and you're adding blocks and doing all that shit? So I don't know. So I think the only other thing to do is to completely rearrange all this shit, finding a more efficient way to do it. I do like the chip. I think it is better than my other one. See, I'm at 177. Which one was the 168? I think I already see a better solution for this guy. Shifting this guy over a couple blocks, keeping this, but then it goes straight to there. It's going to shave off 2 here, 2 there. Is there not a way to just clear the board without it losing? I haven't figured that out yet. Because if I just put this here, it's not gonna be right. So the only way I know how to do this is put this guy way the heck over here, and then just go delete everything. So I mean, I obviously need to get a little bit more familiar with how these tools and stuff even work. But if you just go ahead and say, yeah, I'm going to reuse it, and then you like restart the level, the ghost image is gone too, so you're not even putting the pasted image there. So there's some way of doing that I'm missing that I need to figure out whenever I deal with this stuff. Give copy, select segment, paste. So I mean, I could, I guess, maybe copy this one, but I'm not sure how to do all that shit. Let me just finish what I'm doing before I completely screw this up. So it's kind of a process, and obviously the bigger the chips and all that shit, this is going to get worse. So I'm sure at some point I'll figure out a better way to do this. But for the sake of my sanity, I'm reusing this one. I mean, you're going to be here anyways. Move this guy here. Get rid of all this. And then this guy will just simply do that. And you're going to get the same result. And then this will be my new best chip. So I'm at 144 blocks, 792 volume, 164 ticks. And you're not going to do any better with this. You have 6 transistors. This one, I'm pretty sure was better than another one I had. Yeah, all this stuff is better than that one because it wasn't a 6, it was an 8. So I'm getting closer. Let's go ahead and at least save it and go back in and keep pounding away at it and see what else we can do. Okay. So this is the stuff that I also want to keep practicing too, because I know I'm kind of, again, not super creative, but I want to keep trying to find solutions. So like, for instance, getting rid of this last row, I can do that right now. No, I can't, because I still can't jumper this guy over. So let's do what we did last time, which was, wasn't there a way? What did I do before? I already forgot. It's in the way. Because I wanted to just jumper this and then get rid of the back row. I came over the top from over here, didn't I? To make it work. Or did I turn this guy? Let's do that again where we turn this guy. Yeah, because I'd forgotten that it was a PMOS. Okay. That doesn't solve that problem, though. Yeah, because I still can't jump her over like I want. Ultimately, this guy has to come in from that side. That's the only way. And then you can do this. But then how do you get from here to there? That's right. I did this. Then that touches. And that right there kind of sucks. So
Are you streaming? Or
yeah, I record whenever I work on this stuff to record kind of like my thought process.
Oh my god, doing that would have hurt my head so hard.
This part I think you would be good at, which is kind of, I have a working diagram, I have a working functioning chip, and I'm just trying to consolidate it and make it more efficient. So the figuring out's done. Now it's a matter of moving the transistors and stuff around.
I'm probably not to brag, but I'm probably better at a lot of things than you think I am.
Well, creatively, yes.
Creatively, yeah.
That's what I
Like,
was trying to
The
say.
things that I think because my mind is so chaotic that I'm able to see things from way more different perspectives than you can.
Yeah, because logically, this game, all this stuff is right up my alley as far as the math and figuring that stuff out. But actually designing it, I'm struggling with.
Not that I'm really good at designing anything, but so I managed to swap, like, because I'm normally off on Tuesdays. So I was like, hey, Casey, can I work today and be off on the 21st? Because my birthday's Saturday. On a Saturday, and I want, like, Friday and Saturday. Because I don't know if my parents are going to come for my birthday. I don't know if anybody's planning any surprises. Because it's my 40th. It's my big birthday. It's the big one. Because that's midlife. That's official midlife. 40. That's like worth celebrating. I've lived 40 years. That's crazy. You don't care.
I don't remember my 40th.
I think you were 30 when we were married, huh? Because I think, how old were you when we got together? You weren't quite 30. Were you?
31.
So you had just been 30.
Yeah, 31 time frame, 32.
Okay, so what year did you turn 40?
2017.
You turned 40 in 2017?
Yeah, that's when we got this house.
So we got this house closing. We got this house right before Christmas, didn't we?
December 20th.
Damn! Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think. Because I didn't remember if you were just 30 or like not quite 30 before we got
I think 32. 31
really?
or 32.
I had Wesley when I was 22.
Yeah, you were
Wesley
24.
was
You were
almost-
24 or 25 years old.
Yeah, because Wesley was almost. Because I remember being pregnant when I turned 21. No, I was pregnant when I turned 21, so I was 21 when I had Wesley.
This design's making this worse.
And Wesley wasn't quite 2 when you came around. Wasn't quite 2. It's hot in your room.
I'll live. So all of that finagling is obviously not making things better. But again, the key is we're trying to get these outputs. You have 2 negative outputs, these guys here, and you got 2 positive outputs, this one here and this one here. So those are good. It's the negatives that are kind of far away. But I think, you know what probably should be the thing to do? And it's going to be a little messy, but here's my thought process. So I have the rail, I have the A, goes here, and feeds this gate here. This is pretty efficient, but what if the chip went this way? If I can make the chip go north and south, essentially, on the y-axis, then have the output down here, could I make that work? Because I am losing some real estate down here. And the more I mess with stuff here, I'm just having to grow up and do that crap. When really all I want is I want the outputs in a cluster. I want the 2 NMOSs next to each other, outputting the 2 PMOSs connected together, outputting, and then share that output in one channel. I think is going to be ideal. But I also know I'm kind of tired too, and I'm probably going to keep making this worse. So I might draw up a few little ideas, but I can already tell where I'm going with this is that I'm doing the same thing where I'm just going to go, let's try that. You know, I was hoping that I would maybe while recording come up with some good ideas, but I know it's about, I usually go to sleep fairly early and wake up early because I've been doing these streams sometimes 4 in the morning because I do some of my nighttime maintenance work. I tend to try and do it at 4 in the morning. Next week, I have some midnight stuff. Tuesday and Wednesday, I think I have midnight maintenances that could take a couple hours. If things don't go well, it takes 6 hours. But if things are fine, but I think this one I'm doing 2 separate locations. So there's driving involved and things can go sideways and you have to back up and punt and do all sorts of stuff. It just depends. So I don't want to screw up my sleeping schedule so much that I'm not well prepared for midnight maintenances for next week. So I do tend to try and stay on a schedule to where that'll be fine. So yeah, I'll mess around with this some more. But I wanted to record how well things were kind of going along with this. And again, I'm really trying to understand the process, figure this stuff out, do the schematics, do all that, do the math, and all that stuff, so that when I tackle some of the more complex and bigger projects, I'm not spending 10 to 20 hours on one chip just to fail, you know, because I haven't even played this game through. Like I'm serious when I'm saying like this isn't my best chip. I might just leave the other one the way it was. So you can see that this was what I was working on when I was like, man, I need to back up and really figure this other stuff out and get good at it. So you can see how that worked. I have advanced chips now. I'm starting to wrap my brain around things better. Learning, being honest with myself and just being like, there's a lot of stuff I don't understand and I don't know that I thought I knew, and I don't. So this has been a learning process, and I've really been very interested in doing it because there's a history, and I've looked into stuff like this before, so I am interested in it. So I do want to understand it and do well with it. Um, so I will figure this out, but I do want to get this guy better and more efficient, and then we're going to start tackling on the actual projects and playing the actual game. Um, yeah, some of these are terrible. Look at this shit. I was just jumpering it together and just getting it functional, you know. But the fucking thing works. It's functional. Fucking 50 transistors on this thing because all I did was rubber stamp what I needed in there. I just connected it like this. So I used just the basic XOR chip that I think I made out of the 16 transistor NAND, the four NANDs, which had four transistors each. So right there, just in those two alone, is like 32 transistors. And then you have this guy and these ones. So yeah, it's pretty horrendous, but it's functional, works. But this is part of the fun and the learning of all this stuff too. So, but yeah, again, once I started kind of doing that, and I'm like, I already knew. I'm like, this is not good. Let's figure this shit out, make it better, and then apply it to the more complex chips. So I think I'll leave it there, and I'll play around with that one some more and try and get it more efficient. And just, it's all about for me, it's all about that process. I want to get good at that stuff. So I do appreciate that, seeing someone else's work for, it was the NAND chip, whatever one I saw through the Steam screenshots. I saw that, and I was like, ooh, I like that, how he did the little outer castle wall and the inner castle wall. I was like, that's pretty cool. I see how he did. Okay. And I wanted to wrap my brain around that guy. And then just this schematic for the XOR chip, pretty much showed me I was heading in the right direction with my design. I just hadn't really implemented it properly. So now that I'm figuring all that out, more and more light bulbs are starting to go off. So I'm starting to see it. I think it's starting to work out pretty good. So we'll see what I come up with for that chip and go from there. And if I play around with some other, if I figure something else out that I can apply to some other stuff, I'm gonna do that. And that's kind of how things go with me. Is as I move along, um, there'll be another light bulb moment later in one design that I'm like, hey, I can take that and put that in the other one. And that it's all how I work. This is how it goes. So I'm going to try and keep recording on all this just to kind of show the process. I know this is kind of long and boring and I ramble, but I think it's interesting to me, and I think it's just trying to show how this all works, and that we're all in the same boat, man. We all are trying to learn and achieve things, and this is a part of the learning process. So this is the part I enjoy the most. By the time I'm finished making an awesome chip, the moment I make that chip is really not going to be that great of an accomplishment for me as what I did along the way. I think that's why I want to record this stuff and just show how I'm progressing. So I do appreciate this game, this setup, and it's really been something that I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting something like this for a while, for months, because every other game or everything else I've kind of gotten involved in, even going back to playing World of Warcraft, the War Within expansion is a great expansion. I think it's great, but I would just log in and I'd be like, man, there's just all this stuff to do, and I just don't really want to do it. It's not the game's fault. I think all the effort and everything that they've put into that stuff is great. And there's other games, there's other things that I like and that I enjoy, but it's like there are times where it's just like, I don't know, man. I log into whatever or I start up whatever game and I just kind of sit there and I'm just like, nah, I don't really want to do this as much as I thought I did. Or some days are better than others, but this particular game right now has been something that's been, I think, a long time coming for me to give me something to really feed my brain and just get me engaged, because it is extremely challenging. It is very, very difficult, but I enjoy that. I enjoy how difficult it is, and I appreciate the fact that it is something that I have some basic understanding of. But I'm humble. I understand that there's a lot that I don't know, and that's what's engaging me. It's just like, hey, I actually need to figure this out. Let me figure this out. It's not boring to me. That's all I can say about it. It's just not boring. I think it's fascinating. It's the building blocks of everything that we do. Everything, all of our technology, everything that's around us. This is the basic building blocks. This stuff is the traffic lights in our city, literally and figuratively, with the gates, the on and off, open, closed. It's stop and go. It's traffic. That literally is what it is. I mean, I can't. That is what it is, and it's I think a lot of stuff we take for granted. We really do. Because if you truly understood how fast within the just nanoseconds that this stuff is going on off, 10 10 10 10, open close. It's so fast. It's ridiculously fast, and it's only getting better. So as you're seeing the traces, the blue and the red, and it's finishing that output. There's our processors are doing those traces, hundreds of billions of times like a second, like in nanoseconds. It's ridiculously fast how it's doing it. So it's fascinating to me. I think this is something that if it does kind of gain your attention, go with it. And understand there's probably gonna be a lot that you don't know or don't understand and don't get. Don't give up on yourself. Just understand that there's stuff out there that you don't know and take the time to just learn it, research, figure it out. Everybody can figure this out. Everybody can do this stuff. So I'm gonna quit rambling and probably go to sleep. So that's it for now.